All right. Taya, thank you so much for coming on today. Appreciate it. Could you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Taya Reimer. I was born in Lawrence, Kansas, but I've lived in Fishers my whole life, Fishers, Indiana, and I'm a professional basketball player.
That's awesome. Awesome. I've got so many questions I want to ask you here today. I want to start with what got you into basketball? What made you play? Was it like your mom throwing you into a tryout, or like how did you get started?
Well, you know what? It definitely was my mom. And my mom, she, like my whole life, she was the person that was like, no, we're going to training. We're going to this camp. We're going to practice, like, really pushing me. But I would say just my dad was a professional basketball player.
Sure.
And I think that was like, something that, and I was always tall. I mean, I was always tall from a super young age, always the tallest kid in my class, tallest kid on my team. So it was just like, okay, basketball makes sense for me.
Right.
I honestly always played a lot of sports growing up.
Okay.
But yeah, basketball was just...
It was your thing, huh?
Yeah.
What else did you play? I'm always interested.
So my big three.
Yeah.
Basketball, swimming, and soccer. I was actually really good at... Yes.
Okay.
I was really good at swimming.
Okay.
I was actually really good at soccer, which is surprising.
No, that's awesome.
But yeah, I think I did, honestly, all three of those from like 7 or 8.
Oh, wow. Until when?
Up until like right before high school. Once I got into high school, I was like, okay, I'm just going to focus on basketball.
Yeah.
This is my thing. This is what I really want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I actually loved swimming.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
I never knew that about you.
I know.
That's so funny. That's so funny. When did you realize, because it's something not all of us can relate to, when did you realize you were good?
Yeah, I think probably when I was middle school age. I mean, 5th or 6th grade.
Okay.
I mean, again, like I said, I was always super tall.
Yeah.
I think I always was naturally pretty good at basketball.
Yep.
But I mean, there's a difference between being good and like, okay, I can do something with this.
Yeah, sure.
And I think even at that age, I think I just made a commitment to like really want to be super good. Like, okay, I want to play in college. I want to play professionally.
Wait, when did that happen?
What I want to do.
How old were you when you had that realization?
Honestly, like 6th grade.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. In 6th grade, I was just focused on like video games and like doing random stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think it, again, just, knowing what my dad did, that was always something that was in my mind.
Sure.
And like wanting to do that.
Sure.
And even that young, I mean, my mom was taking me to training. Like I was always doing, I worked with the trainer all the time.
Right.
She would drive me to like college camps. Like I remember going to like Kentucky's women's basketball camp.
Oh my gosh.
Tennessee's women's basketball camp, like even that young, and like her just exposing me to, high level basketball.
Yeah.
And so it was just something for me that it became normal and something that I just knew I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say really 5th, 6th grade, I was like, okay, I have these natural skills.
Right.
So let's start to like actually work towards being good, like being, better than
the average.
Just exactly.
No, that's crazy because I don't know. I just think about, so what, you're 11, 12 years old and you're already thinking like that far ahead.
Yeah.
And I think at least some of the kids that I've seen that are really good, I think it's really like 5th, 6th grade.
Yeah.
You kind of start to realize, hey, if I want to do this, I have to put in the work. There's a little soccer kid I worked with this last year. And his dad's like, look, I have to like get him. I don't have to get him out of bed. Like 6 a.m. He's at the soccer field across the street, like banging goals, working on his game. So it's just cool that you realized it that early in life. And that probably sets you on that path to having success.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, again, I will give a lot of credit to my mom because there were definitely days where I was like, maybe I could skip today.
Right.
But she would be like, no, we're not skipping today.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to go and do it. Like, you said that this is what you want to do. So, and she helped me to kind of develop that work ethic.
No, that's
of
huge.
Just staying, like being consistent. And okay, now I'm to the point where you don't have to tell me. Like, when am I going to training? When am I doing this? What am I doing? Like, you don't have to force me. You don't have to tell me.
Right.
And I'm thankful because I know there's, there can be parents that have kind of the opposite, just reaction with their kids. And oh, you don't want to do it today? Okay, we
Right.
can do something else.
Right.
Like, no, she always pushed me, and she always sacrificed a lot of her time to, like I said, drive me to camps and drive me to college visits. And
Sure.
I mean, we also, because she doesn't like to fly, but we drove everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
Like, I went on so many college visits, and we drove to every single one.
Oh my gosh.
So
You didn't go to like UCLA or anything, did you?
no, we didn't do that. But I think the furthest we did, we drove to Yukon, which was
Oh wow.
like 14 hours. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something
No,
like
that's
that.
a haul. That's
It
a
was
haul for
between
sure.
12 and 14. And then we did like Oklahoma, Baylor, Texas.
Oh wow.
And that was like 16 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we drove everywhere.
Yeah.
But again, she just wanted me to be like completely exposed to everything.
No, that's awesome.
I mean, we would drive down to Georgia. Georgia was my first college offer.
Okay.
And yeah, and that was 8th grade. And we drove
Wow.
down for their camp.
Yeah.
And just like, I mean, yeah, she wanted everybody to see me.
Oh, I
and
love
wanted
it.
me to be exposed to everything.
Yeah.
So,
No, I love it.
yeah.
And what was the training like early on? You know, obviously it's a different landscape.
Yeah.
Now everybody's got a gym and a trainer, you know.
Yes.
What was it like for you coming up?
Yeah, I would say, so the first place that I trained with was 100% hoops.
Mm-hmm.
It was out of the field house. It's now Best Choice Field House.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I would go there literally like every day. Like I remember, like I would be training with Yogi Ferrell, like
That's pretty cool.
playing like one-on-one with him, and he would beat the crap out of me, and I
Yes.
would like cry, like
Yes.
you know, because I thought that I was like the best player ever, and so didn't,
Right.
you know, comprehend like,
Yeah.
okay, he probably should be you. He's
Right.
older than you. He's a boy.
Yes.
But you know, stuff like that. That's real. Like looking back now, like he's an amazing player and has this amazing career. Like that's super cool. But yeah, just going 100% hoops every day. Chris Thomas and Greg McIntosh, like just
Yeah.
working with them. Chris did a great job of implementing fitness with the basketball, which
Yes.
I think was huge and really important. Just starting to prepare my body and get used to, you know, it's not just on the court stuff that you
Yeah.
have to do. You have to take care of your body. You have to, you know, build your fitness.
Yes.
So, and again, that was,
I don't think there were a lot of
9,
people
10
doing
years
that at that
old.
point in time,
yeah.
right? Especially
yeah.
at that age group.
No, definitely
So-
not. And I mean, to be honest, even once I got into high school, I mean, like, my high school coach didn't really like that I did that. I mean,
Yeah.
because, you know, it was such it was a new thing at that point.
Sure.
And I think especially for girls, you know,
Yes.
girls basketball is so, and again, especially at that time, so fundamental and team and,
Yes.
you know, so I think just the idea of like me doing individual training and personal training was like
Right.
almost like a taboo thing.
Right.
But I was just so used to it. That was just what I had always done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was every day training, every day, every weekend going to a camp,
Yeah.
you know, playing in a boys league, AAU, travel school league, like
Yeah.
always doing something.
Yeah. And it's so interesting too that coaches would look at it like that. And again, maybe we're looking at this in hindsight.
Yeah.
But it's so unique now because I feel like when I was playing basketball a long time ago, it was, hey, the offseason, this is your time to work on your game.
Yes.
And now I think that's so commonplace and rightfully so because
Yes.
it's hard in a team environment to get the individual work that you need.
Absolutely.
And so that's where you need the trainers, right? Hopefully somebody that's got a vision for you and it's not just hyping you up and blowing you up,
Yeah.
but like, hey, here are the things you need to work on to get on the court or to make a contribution.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that you found that so early.
Yes. I mean, absolutely. And again, I'm glad that I had those resources here to be able to do that. And
Yeah.
there's so many, I mean, you know, I've worked with a lot of basketball trainers and
For sure.
Indy is a great place for that. But yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think like when you're in your team practice, it's team and
Yeah,
you're working
absolutely.
on plays and you're doing, which of course is great and necessary and you have to do those things. But to be a part of a team, you have to develop your individual skill.
Yes.
Like you have to be able to, somebody passes a ball to me, I have to be able to make a move and score.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
I can't just,
Yeah.
you know, look around. So, so yeah, and I realized that super early on and did definitely have some pushback with some coaches, but like, even looking back in hindsight, I'm glad that I did what I did. It was worth it.
Yeah. And I think it helped you
got
get
me.
it got you where you want to be. Yeah.
Exactly.
What was your high school experience like? Because not a lot of us can probably relate to what it was like for you. So I would love to just hear, like, what's it like to be like a really high level, high caliber player in high school?
You know what? It was actually really crazy. And again, I will even say, and I think it was a lot for my high school coach to deal with.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I was always playing AAU.
Yep.
I mean, even from 8th grade, like, I was playing on, the top 17U team.
That's
like,
crazy.
Going to AU nationals and doing all of these events and, like, playing at a super high level.
Sure.
Like, Gino Orium was coming to my games in 8th grade. Like,
That's so wild.
And even at that time, the rules are so different. I don't even know what the rules are now with recruiting, but like, college coaches could come to your high school and they could, like, during school, like, come hang out with you, see you.
Really?
And so, like, Gino would come to school, like,
that's so crazy.
Muffet McGraw would come to school, like, the
so
UCLA,
wild.
like, and he was kind of like, I think part of it was like, who does this girl think she is?
Right.
And I was just like, oh. So it was definitely different. And again, I don't think at that point, like, he had somebody that was
at that
being
level
recruited so highly.
Sure.
So it was just different. And I remember my high school coach, he made a comment to my mom. Like, he said something like, I'm going to just start sending you guys my phone bill for all of these coaches that I have to talk to.
Oh my gosh.
And we were like, okay.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that was always super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, just to have coaches come in and coaches coming to your games. I mean, I always, would go out to Colorado Springs and do, like, USA basketball. Trials and, training. And I think I played on 3 different USA basketball teams during high school, which was super cool.
Yeah.
And again, just, like, always doing AAU, always doing a lot of camps, always, like, integrating that with high school. And I think, honestly, for me, again, I just knew what I wanted to do, and I had, like, such a, I just had a goal and a big picture in my mind.
Yes.
That's
awesome.
Sometimes, like, looking back, I regret it a little bit. Like, I wish that I would have enjoyed more of high school.
Right.
But I was just so hyper focused on, this is what I want to do. This is where I'm. Yeah.
Bigger goals. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, I'm not going to go hang out. Like, I'm training. Or this weekend we're going to camp, a camp. We're going to an event. We're doing this. So I would say my high school experience was definitely a lot different.
For sure. For sure.
Than a lot of people in my area, probably. But it was really fun. It was cool.
Yeah. I just have so much respect for you. And it reminds me of Jeff Teague told a story on his podcast, which it's pretty, you've listened, it's a pretty funny show.
Yeah.
But he's talking about when he's at Wake. And he's like, look, I didn't do anything when I was at Wake. Really? Like, I'd go to class. I had my headphones on all the time. If I wasn't in class, I was working on my game.
Yep.
Because he was like, look, nothing I can do in college, no party that I can go to in college will be better than what I can do if I make it into the NBA.
Exactly.
And so, like, to have that level of foresight and just, like, being able to lock in is something that if you want to be really successful, you have to be able to do.
Absolutely.
Right? You have to put some of that other stuff aside, like the short-term fun stuff. It sucks, but you got to make some of those sacrifices if you want to get to that highest level.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And again, I think that it was just my mom.
Yeah.
I guess it just was her.
Yeah.
Because it just was always so normal to me.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot that I felt even in the moment that I was really, like, missing.
Yeah.
Because that was
great.
the stuff that was really cool to me. And I met, like, all of my super close friends, even now, are like, they live everywhere. And girls that I met at camp or that I met at USA basketball or, we did McDonald's together or whatever. Like, those are, like, my core memories and my,
absolutely.
So I just never felt like I missed anything.
Yeah.
Those were the things that were super important to me.
I love it. How much pressure came with that? I mean, did you feel like you were pressured or like it was overwhelming for you? Or was it just like, hey, This is what I'm used to. This is my normal.
You know what? I think that I definitely did start to feel a lot of pressure. And I think that's honestly been something that I've always struggled with. And even now playing like just kind of the mental side of everything.
Sure.
And I think just because honestly I like was so good so young, and I think a lot of people knew who I was so young.
Right.
And then, it's like, oh, she has so much potential. And then it's like, okay, like now I'm the person that everybody expects so much from.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you've shown something so young. So it's like, oh,
yeah.
What is she going to do? And so I think that I like definitely, as I got older, started to really feel that.
Sure.
Like, okay, well, I better do all these things
right.
that all these people think that I'm going to do.
Was there like a certain time where you're just like, oh my gosh, like was there like a peak or pinnacle of that?
I don't know. I would say probably, especially in high school, like the most pressure that I really felt was probably like junior, senior year, and especially going into, Miss Basketball.
Yeah.
'Cause I think that was probably one of the first big like individual awards.
Sure.
That I was, that I could have gotten.
Right.
And so I think that was like the thing that, even like making a USA basketball team, or like it's still a team.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I'm one of like 12 girls. Okay. But like something like that to me was like, okay, this is just you and pressure, and you have to prove all of these things that you are. And
sure.
da, 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 da. So that was like, I think once I got older and like, okay, where am I going to commit to? What school am I going to go to? Am I really as good as people think I am? Am I good enough to go to UConn? Am I good enough to, like, okay, So it just became super real. It wasn't like,
it's not just fun and games anymore. Like now, this is
the
more
potential.
serious.
What
For
could
sure.
it be? It's like, okay, now it's time to do it.
Right.
So
right.
I think around then was like when it became
sure,
real,
really real. Sure.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the recruitment process.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you talked about, Gino is at your school, hanging out and following you around. Like, what was that process like? When did you declare? Like, kind of give us some of that story, because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. Well, again, like I really visited so many schools. And I think, again, my mom, she was very adamant on like talk to every coach.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
She wanted me to first always be respectful. Like, you at least deserve, if somebody's interested in you and willing to give you a scholarship, like you should hear them out, give them a conversation. You never know. Like, even if you feel like in a million years you're not going to go to X school, like,
X architectural college of the Southwest.
Yeah. Well, there were some schools where I was like, okay, like, thank you,
let's be
but I'm not
realistic.
gonna. Just to be honest, because there were like a lot of schools.
Yeah. No,
so
for sure.
But I mean, some of the mid majors and even high level schools where I was just like, I can't see myself going.
Sure.
At least she was like, get on the phone and just be like, thank you, but. I don't see whatever.
Right.
So I talked to a lot of coaches. We went on a lot of visits, drove to every visit, went a lot of places. I mean, from a young age, 8th grade, like, and I think I even went to Tennessee earlier than 8th grade. I might have went to their like elite camp when I was like in 7th grade.
That's so crazy.
Because even at that time, social media is so much bigger now, and it's so much easier to, see kids. So at that time, she was like, well, all of these schools have elite camps. That's the best way for you to be seen. So we would go to all these camps. And yeah, I mean, I really could have gone to any school that I wanted to, which was, I mean, that's a huge blessing and an amazing thing. I think I fell in love with UConn super early. I mean, just,
Absolutely.
It's
the
UConn.
prestige, yeah.
I think I went on 2 visits there, had a lot of conversations with Gino. He came to, the first time he saw me was in 8th grade. Or at least I think it was him. And then, started to come to a lot of my games every AAU season.
Sure.
In high school. I was so worried, and this is another thing, like, in hindsight, that I wish I would have just... I think I was so worried about... He had this amazing class that was a class right before me.
Right.
I was the 2013 class. 2012 class was Breonna Stewart.
Yeah.
Which she's, like, the greatest player right now.
For sure.
Morgan Tuck. Those two, like, in my position.
Right.
Like, I think, again, just part of the pressure and, like, me feeling secure in myself. Like, I was like, well, I'm going to have to go and I'm just going to play behind them. And I don't know if I want to do that.
Right.
And yeah, sometimes in hindsight, I'm like, I really loved it there. And I really loved the coaches. And I really loved, like, that's, like, so historic.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I'm like, I wish that I would maybe just made that decision. And I honestly had, I had, like, kind of verbally committed there, and then just, like, took it back.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't know if I'm really,
right.
Ready for that, or if that's exactly what I wanted. And then obviously Notre Dame was super close. I mean, I visited there like 10, 12 times. Like, I mean, we would go up all the time just for a game on the weekend.
Yeah.
Close to home, which was something that was important. Like, I wanted my mom to be able to come to my games. Just got really comfortable there and really close with everybody there.
Right.
And Skylar Diggins was there as I was being recruited, and I think I just, like, saw her and all of these cool things that she was doing, and this, like, persona that she had and everything that she did even outside of basketball. And I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Right.
Like, I could, I could do that, or I want to do that, or I want to be like that.
Yep.
And I just felt like there was more of a space for me to, come in right away, contribute.
Yes.
Be a part of them being really good, because they were super good.
Absolutely. I mean, they were the second best team basically in the country at that point. So,
exactly.
Yeah. It's not like you're going to, like, the 20th best school.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it came down to for me. I was like, okay, so I would rather be on this team where I'm competing at the highest level against Breonna Stewart and Morgan Tuck and all of these girls, instead of, at that time I just felt like, instead of just sitting on the bench, which, again, I can realize that maybe my viewpoint was not what it should have been. But yeah, so that was like the main factor for me is, okay, I can stay close to home. I can be basically home. My family can come up there whenever. I can go home whenever I need to. Yeah. But it's still high level. It's still this historic program. It's still, something great. And I thought that I would have a lot of opportunities there. So
for sure.
I think they were always a huge favorite for me early on. I think really between those two, there were other schools that I really liked and that I talked to and considered all the way up until I committed. But I think it was really always those two as like my, like, which one is it going to be?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Also, part of me is like, maybe I should have just, like, went to the West Coast and did something totally different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. And like you said, it's at the time, you got the top two schools in the nation, right, for basketball. And I didn't know that about your mom, not liking to fly. I mean, that's a big difference, right? Like, if she's got to go to UConn to watch your games versus driving 2.5 hours up the road.
Exactly.
Right? And you guys are super close. So, there's just a lot of factors that weigh into it. Yeah. It's not just like, what is the best school or where can I go in and compete? Like, most people don't understand, like, real humans, there's a lot of things that influence and impact where you want to go. Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, we are so close. And we've always been so close. And I think a lot of people, a lot of kids don't have a problem with, I think on both ends, them as just individuals growing up, they're like, I can go somewhere and I could be from Indiana and I could go to UCLA and be totally fine. And their parents are like, yeah, go ahead. Like, it's time for you to go.
Sure.
We struggled with that idea, both me and my mom. So I think as much as I loved Florida State, I loved UCLA, Duke, all of these, Texas, like Baylor, all of these places that, wow, that would be so cool to be somewhere different and da-da-da-da.
Right.
But I was always like, it'd be really hard for you to come visit me. It'd be really hard for me to get home.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably obviously other factors, but that was like
That's
really
That's a
high.
big Sure.
Yeah.
Another thing that probably most of us can't relate to, you had a pretty successful senior year, right? Miss Basketball, McDonald's All-American, like things
I wasn't Miss Basketball.
You weren't Miss Basketball.
No.
What? How was I?
I know. But you know what? So my class was really strong. Stephanie Mavunga won Miss Basketball.
Oh my gosh. I did not know that.
Yeah. Which I know. We had like one of the best classes.
Okay.
And I think that was something like we were always, I've known her and played against her since we were in third grade, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Like we were always.
Right.
And I think senior year, sorry, because I know you're going to get into.
You're totally
more.
fine.
But I would say it was so crazy because I feel like I did more at that time.
Yeah.
I feel like I had a little bit like more success like nationally.
Yes.
And she was more like successful here just in the state.
Yeah, for sure.
Because my senior year I won one of the like National Player of the Year awards.
Yeah, I know.
And she won Miss Basketball. And that
so that's why I was confused.
Yeah.
Because I thought, you're Miss Basketball for sure.
Yeah. Which she's amazing.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
She
so much
deserved
respect
it.
for her game.
She absolutely deserved it. But it's like all of the stuff that I did, like that really was so hard for me.
Yeah, no, I get
That
it.
was like the thing that I wanted more than anything.
Yeah.
And so it was so hard.
I'm sorry.
For
Now
me.
I'm sticking just
No, it's
just
okay.
picking at the wound,
It's
right?
okay.
Sorry.
No, not at all.
But okay. So like a National Player of the Year award, and you were a McDonald's All-American, which
Yeah.
again,
And she was too. Yeah.
Most of us could all dream of,
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Well, that was another thing that was always like on my goals list. My dad was a McDonald's All-American.
Wow, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were the first father-daughter like duo to ever
Really?
be. Yeah.
Wow,
to
that's
ever,
really cool.
I know, which
Really
was super,
cool.
super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. So that was again something that like I always wanted to do. Like I knew like this is this is a real thing. Like I have his McDonald's All-American like jersey at my house and his little like he got a little leather jacket. Like
that's cool.
It's super cool. So yeah, that was a big thing, and I knew that again, that was something that I knew all of these players that went to this high level and did all of these things, like they did this. So it was just
that
like,
was a stepping
okay,
stone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is on the checklist. So again, I think getting it and like once it was announced and once I knew, it was such a great moment, but it was also like, this is what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
You almost don't enjoy it.
yeah.
Right?
No, yeah.
I mean, you kind of do, but it's like you
Yes.
expect it to happen. So
Yes.
there's not that same level of, oh
Yes.
my gosh, I did this. It's like, no, like I expected this. So it's almost like, I don't know, anticlimactic in a way, which
I
is
know.
bad.
I
It's
know.
bad.
And I hate that. It was like a thing where I almost was like, I'm going to be so mad if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, how could it not
Yes.
happen? Like, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So instead of it like being so much joy in this
Yes.
amazing thing, because it was this amazing opportunity and
Right.
experience and, that not a lot of people get to do.
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, I was just like, or else better happen.
Right.
I need this to happen.
Right.
This is what I've been working for. So
Right.
yeah.
Was it fun?
It was.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was really cool. That's just like it's like this sisterhood and brotherhood and like everybody's just hanging out. I mean, you
Yes.
get to come together with all of these amazing players and most of the girls like, I've known for so long
Yeah, for
because
sure.
we did all of these USA things together, all these camps, all of these events. So I think for all of us, like for it to come to fruition for all of us is, like
It's just such an
okay, we
iconic
made it.
game.
Yeah.
It's an iconic event in
Yeah.
basketball. So
Yes, and like, going to so it's a whole week and you go to the Ronald McDonald House and that's amazing.
for
to
sure.
meet all these families and all these kids and you know, just hear their stories and,
Right.
you know, for them to look at us like,
Yeah, no, for sure.
you know, it's a really sweet thing. And that was really my favorite part because,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, well, you're inspiring us more than we're doing
Absolutely.
anything for you. But, you know, we did that. We have skills challenge and a dunk contest and 3-point contest. I did the skills challenge and the 3-point contest. Shouldn't have did the 3-point contest.
You needed Joey.
I know.
You needed Joey.
At that point, I was just like, I'm just doing this for fun.
Yeah.
The skills contest, I was really close to winning.
Oh, wow,
And I
okay.
was like, I really wish that I would have won that. But, so that was really fun. And then, you know, the dunk contest is cool. Seeing that and then having the game. Well, we had a big dinner.
Yeah.
Everybody gets dressed up and kind of just talk about all of our seasons. And that's when they presented me and I think it was Jabari Parker who won the Morgan Wooten Award. That was like their Player of the Year award.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool. I mean, it was just so cool to like hang out with all of these people and,
For sure.
you know, again, we all were doing the same thing and had the same goals and,
Right.
you know, and even now, like, it's cool to like look at where all of these people are and,
Yeah.
see what they're all doing. And that was like kind of the last stepping stone before we went to college and
Yeah.
before everything got like really real.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was super cool.
Yeah.
Super
It's just,
cool.
it's interesting because I think naturally a lot of us have people that are close to us and they're literally like close to us in proximity, right? People you go
Yes.
to school with, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, when you're playing basketball at the level you are, it's not as you don't have as many like friends locally because your friends are from different areas because they've got similar
Yes.
goals, right? So in my world, you know, like I'm an entrepreneur. So I have people from different spaces, like my best friends live in Huntsville or Slovenia or Seattle, like they're all spread out.
Exactly.
But again, you're surrounding yourself. It's like your inner circle is just more spread out and a little bit more diverse.
Yeah.
So it's unique, but it's an important thing to like focus on, like who are the people around you and are they
Yeah.
supportive of your goals? Are they pushing you to where you want to go? Do they understand your vision and your dream for
Yeah.
yourself? So
Absolutely. I mean, I think that was so important for me. And again, I just realized really early on, not that, you know, like you said, like there were just a lot of people that weren't going where I was going, weren't doing
Yeah.
the things
It's
that I
not
was
a bad
doing.
thing. It's just
exactly
we have different
not a
goals,
bad
and
thing.
that's fine.
Yeah, it's just, and more than that, you just don't understand, you
Yes.
know, and so it's like it's hard for me to, you know, not that you can't be supportive and not that you don't think that it's great and want me to do all these things, but
Right.
it's, you know, you're not doing it.
There's
And,
sacrifices
you know,
that are
my
being
friend
made.
and-
Yeah,
exactly.
there's just sacrifices.
Exactly.
Your willingness to go to the party on Friday while
Yes.
your willingness to stay at home because
Yes.
you know you have to work out at 8 a.m. the next day.
Exactly.
It's just different.
It's
different. And it's not like one is right or wrong. It's just, hey,
Yeah.
I've got my own dreams and goals
Yep.
for myself.
Exactly.
Talk to me about going from being the big dog in high school to stepping on a college campus.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the difference just in the game, like moving out, right?
Yes.
Living away from home. What is that experience like?
Oh gosh, I honestly I struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I struggled most just like you said, just moving out and like being away from home.
Sure.
I was so used to like my very structured, you know, this is what I'm doing and honestly, even when I was a senior in high school, like I didn't get my license until I was a sophomore at college.
Oh, wow.
So like my mom
Oh my gosh.
drove me everywhere.
That's awesome. Like personal
mom-
Uber service. Yes.
So I was like super, not sheltered, but sheltered in a
Yeah.
way. And you know, everything that I was doing, like my mom was going to do it with me or she was
Yeah,
taking me or
for
she
sure.
was, you know, that was very much like my reality. So going to college was different.
Yeah.
Just, you know, really learning, okay, what do I have to do for myself to be like on top of everything?
Yeah.
You know, my time management, just everything. Like I'm relying on me and
Yeah.
I have to be the person doing everything. And
Right.
like, you know, if something is hard today, I can't go vent to my mom. Like, of course I can call her, but it's
Right.
different
It's not
than
the
just
same.
being like,
Yeah.
oh, we can go eat, we can go hang out.
Yeah.
Like,
Give me a hug.
Yes.
Sometimes I just need a hug.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was a huge thing for me. Just like actually growing up, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, okay, this is real life now. So, you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think I struck, like, I got it.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
I don't think there was any big thing where I, got in trouble or just
Right.
couldn't keep up with this or couldn't keep up with that. But I think, like, mentally, it just, like, took a toll on me. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a lot. And then basketball wise, I think, I mean, my freshman year, especially early on, I did really well.
Yeah.
I did really well. I mean, our training over the summer, our practices, our preseason games. I mean, I had some like crazy preseason games, played
Right.
super well.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I think for me, it was a little bit of then paying my dues
Yeah.
and not necessarily not being as talented as other people, but just like, sometimes seniority rules out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it just goes that way.
Yeah.
Which was also hard to me.
For sure.
That was really hard for me because I like, if I'm
If you're
better
cooking
than-
somebody.
yeah,
Yeah,
like, oh my
absolutely.
God.
Why are they playing more than you?
Yeah. And again, going back to, especially at that time, I felt how I felt about, not wanting to go to UConn for a certain reason. And
Right.
I can go here. And so
Right.
I was kind of like, well,
Yeah.
I could have went there and did the same. And
Right.
not that I was like sitting on the bench. I mean, I played a lot.
Right.
And contributed a lot. But I think, again, there were times that I felt like,
Right.
I could be doing way more.
Yeah.
So I think even that was a mental thing for me.
Yeah.
Of course, just the speed of the game
Sure.
it was way more, and
Sure.
just getting in shape, and obviously everybody's better, stronger, faster,
For sure.
everything. Like, that was an adjustment, but I feel like I picked it up and I was
Pretty
getting
quickly.
it, and I was,
Yeah.
and I was like on my way. And I think, again, just being able to handle all of the adversity
Yeah.
by myself
Yeah.
was
Absolutely.
like the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
This is the biggest adjustment.
So I think there's something in that, right? Because everybody in life and in sports deals with adversity. So I would love to hear, because we've kind of talked about this before,
Yeah.
before we've done all this in our many conversations.
Yeah.
But like one of the things you've talked about is like kind of how you dealt with it then versus how you might deal with it now. Like,
Yeah.
could you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I think there's a real lesson in that
Yes.
for young people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and that's so hard because I think it's also really hard in the moment to see. Sometimes it's hard to see things for what they are,
Yeah.
and to know. I mean, there's a lot of things that I look back on, and like 50% of me is like, gosh, I really regret that, but also I know that I grew from it and
Yes.
learned from it. So
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
do I really regret it? Like,
Yeah. No, I get it.
it taught me about myself. I changed. I learned. I grew from that. But yeah, I mean, I think to me, that was always the biggest thing about college. And I also knew that going in is like, okay, this is like when I'm going to become like an actual person.
Yeah,
I'm going to
sure.
grow up. I'm going to become an adult. Like,
Sure.
this is real life now. And I always knew that. I think, again, when something hits you, like when adversity hits or a situation hits, and maybe you feel slighted or you feel like it's not going your way, like, there's definitely been stuff that, maybe I took personally in the moment, or, tried to put it on somebody else. And it's like, okay, but I could have reacted at the end of the day.
Yes.
I could have reacted way different to that. I could have
Yes.
handled it differently. I could have made it into something different.
Yes.
And I think that's been a huge thing for me, honestly. Just, and I hate to say, I don't want to say playing victim, but like, sometimes it's really easy to be like,
Yeah.
this crappy thing happened to me and you did that to me.
Right.
And it's like, well,
You're putting all the focus on something else versus looking inward and like, what role did I play in this?
Exactly. What role did I play in this, and how was my perspective through this situation?
Yes.
Like, how could I have taken that and just thought about it completely different and let it be
Right.
something different?
Right. Yeah.
Not let it be like a
Yeah. Where it just tanks you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I do. I mean, I think that that's so important, and again, situations that I've learned so much from now that now I can look at things that I go through, in present time, and
Yeah.
okay, so let's try to step outside of this
Yes.
and not
let the emotion run the whole
Yeah.
show. Step
Yes.
back, perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely at that time was super emotional.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's part of being young.
Super emotional. Exactly.
Yeah.
Super emotional, super young. And again, just like was always in my little bubble, and then stepped outside of that bubble and just was like,
Yeah.
oh, there's so much
Right.
here. There's so much to deal with. Like,
Right.
it's not just me. I have to deal with all of these different things, and
Yes.
and just being able to realize I can't control all of these aspects. I can't control all of these people.
Yes.
I can just control how I react to it, what I
Yes.
do, what I bring every single day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I think most people, if you've not been around that environment, you don't realize they just see what you do on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Exactly.
And they don't realize there's 168 hours in
Yeah.
that week, and student athlete is a real thing, right? Like you're
Absolutely.
a student that also plays a sport. And so it's an incredibly time demanding
yes.
situation. And again, I was around it
Yes.
at Ball State. My dad was a professor. So he's just like, look, man, some of these guys literally played a game, didn't get home till 2 a.m, and they're in
Yeah.
my class at 8 a.m.
gosh.
It's really hard. And so have some perspective on what these young kids are going
Yeah.
through at that age.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I know. I mean, I can remember like so many road trips that we had getting back to South Bend, like the middle of the night, a blizzard, snowstorm. I didn't have a car,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
walking across campus. Like we would be dropped off at the gym
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I would have to walk. Honestly, no, people did have cars, but our campus was so small and there wasn't really a lot of like parking around.
Right.
And we had to live. So at Notre Dame, you couldn't move off of campus into your own apartment until you were a senior.
Oh
So
my
you
gosh.
had to live
Wow.
in dorms. Yeah. Which
Wow.
was super different. That
Yeah,
was like
that's-
the only
yeah.
school even
Yeah.
through recruiting
Yeah.
that was. So I can just remember like getting home like 2, 3 a.m. like walking across campus. There was one day I was literally crying and my tears were frozen on my face because I was like, why
Oh, that's
am
awful.
I doing this?
Yeah. Why am I here?
Yeah, and so it's stuff like that. It's like, and just realizing I have to go to class tomorrow and I have all of these things I have to do.
Yeah.
And I'm so
It's a lot.
tired.
It's a lot.
And it's snowing
Yeah.
and my body hurts and maybe coach told me that I played like crap and
Yeah.
I'm so bad.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just it's
It's a
so
lot.
much that goes
It's a lot.
into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so much. So
That's tough.
yeah.
Talk to me about transferring, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously you went to Notre Dame, you did not stay there. What is
Yeah.
that process like? And especially now, like, again, perspective, it's so
Yeah.
different now.
Yes.
You're like, oh, I don't like this school anymore. Gone. I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah.
So what was that process like for you? Because it was different when you
Yes.
did this. It's a little bit more drawn out. So talk to me about your mindset and kind of where you were at, and then what prompted that and what made you end up
Yes.
choosing Michigan State.
Well, and it's so funny to me now. It's something that I'm a little bitter about.
Yeah.
Because, like, and I'll get into all of this, but I had to do so much just to be able to transfer.
Really?
And like you said, now, like,
I'm done. I'm out.
any little thing,
Yeah.
like any little thing you can. And I know girls who have gone to a different school 4 years. Every year they go to a different
It's
school.
crazy. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, it was so taboo when I transferred.
Oh, I
And
know.
So
I know.
many people were like, well, what's wrong with her?
Oh, I
What
know.
is she? And I was
Yeah.
like, this crazy, she must be something's wrong with her. And
Right,
like,
right.
And no, girl. But anyways, so it was after my sophomore year. So we played in the national championship my sophomore year.
Yep.
Lost to UConn. Devastating.
Excuse me. Of course.
So devastating. My freshman year, we lost to them in the championship game, but lost by like 30. Like,
Right.
Our senior captain, she had gotten hurt, and they were just stacked. They were loaded. Like, we were never going to win that game.
Right.
But my sophomore year, we were like, okay, we can
win. Yeah.
Lost. Devastating.
Yeah, sure.
So that summer, I went and played USA basketball. I played, it was Pan American Games. So I basically, went to trials, did that, and that was a lot. I mean, to play a full season.
For sure.
Honestly, when I was in college, was not in the best shape. And then took me a really long time to be able to like lean myself out. But then playing over the summer, I was my tendonitis, my Achilles were.
Yeah.
There were days even, during the competition where I could not even walk.
Yeah.
Like I was having to do a lot just to be able to play.
Yeah.
And luckily my trainer at Notre Dame, she was the trainer for our USA basketball team.
Oh, that's great.
Which was great because, she knew me, she knew my body.
There's continuity there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were able to, kind of figure some things out to get me to just be able to play. And then we kind of obviously transferred that right back into start of my junior year. So after I finished USA basketball going into junior season, I sat down with her. Her name's Ann. I sat down with Ann and we were like, this is not going to work. Like,
right.
I had no rest.
Yeah.
I'm going to be struggling all season. What can we do?
Yeah.
So I had PRP treatment done. And I don't know, because I feel like maybe it was different then than it is now, because I had my PRP treatment and then they were like 3 months, nothing.
3 months?
3 months.
Now it's like 3 days.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
I know. I have them all the time now.
Oh my God.
Like, they're
Right.
like, "Please
Yeah.
stay."
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh.
it was 3 months. 3 months, nothing. So, and going into that season, like, I was voted a captain. That was like really hard for me to feel like, okay, this is finally my year. This is my season. This is going to be a huge season.
Yeah.
I'm going into it. I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I'm not, we're doing all of these preseason workouts. We're doing conditioning. We're doing all of this stuff. I was on the bike on the side, like, hey, like,
good job.
supposed to be this presence.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I can't, like, it
So
was
disconnected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just felt so disconnected from everything.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like, I already felt like I was struggling just to be in shape. I wasn't able to do anything. I felt like I was getting so out of shape. I was just like, mentally, I was like a wreck. I was like, this is not how I envisioned any of this being.
Right. Right.
So it gets to like Thanksgiving time, our Thanksgiving tournament. That's when I was supposed to come back.
Yep.
I think I played one game, felt horrible. I was like, Ann, I don't want to play this season. I don't want to waste my season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is supposed to be a big year for me. I don't want to.
Right.
I
You don't want to
wanna
waste it. You don't want to waste it.
I don't want to waste it. And basically, long story short, there was a lot of pushback between me and the coaching staff.
Yeah.
They did not agree with that. They did not
Right.
want me to not play.
Right.
Which, again, me being somebody who had all of this experience, being a captain on a team, like, in hindsight, I understand. I get it.
Right. Yeah.
And also part of me, just looking back, was like, was that selfish of me to, want to take my year?
Right.
But in the moment, I was like, no.
If you don't feel good, it's really,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I know,
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
impossible to go out and play at your highest level if you don't
Yes.
feel at least pretty darn good.
Exactly. And honestly, I don't think that I was mentally equipped to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Like now, like even my last season playing professionally,
Yeah.
I was doing injections and getting my knee drained. And,
Yeah.
you know, I was managing and I could do that. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like I, you know, was just grown up enough to
Yeah.
be able to know my body and
Yes.
know what was too much and know what I had to do.
Yes.
At that point, I was like, I can't do that. I can't
Yeah.
manage it. I'm going to be a wreck. I'm going to be horrible. I'm not going to be able to do it.
Yep.
So the coaches didn't agree with that, didn't want me to use my redshirt year. So I
Right.
said, okay, then I'm not going
I'm
to
out.
be on the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
for
like,
sure.
I will. So at the Christmas break, I left the team.
Yeah.
And I had a meeting with my academic advisor because, again, at that point, for me to transfer, I would have had to sit out a full year.
Yep.
And I didn't want to do that either.
Sure.
So I had a meeting with my academic advisor going into spring semester. And I was like, how can I graduate? You know, I'm 2.5 years in.
Yeah.
How can I graduate? So we had to get all type of extra approval and talk to this professor and this. I ended up taking 10 classes my spring semester.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What was that, like 30 credit hours?
Something like
Like
that.
that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's so
it
many
was
classes.
like between 25 and 30 credit hours
Oh my gosh. Wow.
in one semester because I was like, I'm
out.
out of here.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
I'm out of here. And I'm not gonna sit out. I don't
Yeah.
want to sit out. So I did that. So I did that my spring semester. I had to take 2 classes. I actually took 2 classes at IUPUI
Yeah.
over the summer
Yeah.
to like fully graduate.
So you were done in 3
Graduated.
years.
Yeah, I graduated.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, which is like that's something
amazing.
that
That's amazing.
like,
Yeah.
graduating from Notre Dame in 3 years. That's
Yeah.
super cool, and you know that's something that I'm super proud of.
For sure.
You know, again, that was like a crazy adversity situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
where I was like forced, you know, up against a wall. But
Yeah.
that's something that was like a really amazing thing that I did, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, but yeah, so did that, graduated that summer, and yeah, I was like, cool. I'm glad that I did that. My process of actually transferring was, I think I was so drained by all of that stuff going on.
For sure.
And then, you know, started to have some conversations with coaches and with some schools. And honestly, like some places were candidly like, well, we don't understand why you left and we're a little concerned. So
Sure.
So
You're like flagged.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
I was going to ask.
yeah, which then to me again was alarming because at the time I felt like all of these things just happened to me.
Right.
And so I was like, oh my God, these people think that
I'm the problem.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did. And so it just like, oh my gosh, like I'm trying to get away from this and I can't even get away from it.
Right.
And so, you know, there were conversations that I had with schools that I really thought that maybe I would go there. Maybe I would go. And then had these conversations and immediately was like, I can't because you already have this
Like
idea
stigma.
of me. You are
Yeah.
exactly the
Yeah.
stigma. It's like, I can't do it. And again, was just so drained, so like frustrated and gosh. And so I was talking to Michigan State. They had recruited me, you know, again, since I was like in 8th grade, had
Right.
a relationship, ended up going on an official visit there and was like, I'm tired. I like you guys.
Right.
The girls are super cool.
Yeah.
I don't even want to do this anymore. Like, I'm just going to go here.
Oh, wow.
Like, didn't even
Yeah,
visit
yeah.
anywhere else.
Oh, wow.
Which, again, in hindsight,
Hindsight. Yeah, sure.
probably should have taken more time with that.
Yeah.
Definitely should have taken more time with that. So, I was just tired. I was over it. I was like, I've been so locked into all of this stuff for so long.
Yep.
I just want to go be somewhere that I feel like I'm like happy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, I
can
get
just
it.
relax and
I
like,
get it.
be myself, which again, now looking back, especially for my basketball career, that was not the best decision for me at all.
Right.
But I just wanted to like just be happy and feel like I could just be myself and you know, just kind of enjoy life, because it was just really hard for
I get
a
it.
period of time, you know. So
so going from there, because you did, I mean, wanted to play pro. You get it, you get in and you start playing pro. What is that shift like? Because you kind of said, was it the best thing for basketball being there? Probably not, but you get that opportunity. Right? So like, what did you feel like you needed to do from the end of your college career to like start making your mark to get that first professional contract? What was that thought process like?
It was, I feel like I was in panic mode. Because being at Notre Dame, being so highly recruited and being at Notre Dame and, you know, playing in 2 national championship games and playing with all of these great people and, you know, being there, like, I was like projected top 5 WNBA draft and,
oh my gosh,
you know, all of these great things. And, you know, then I transfer and there's a little bit of this stigma on me and I go to Michigan State. And again, like, me, you know, I won't put it, honestly, I would just say it was different. Like, we always talk about it. You always say this, like, there's levels. There's levels.
For sure.
And that's everything. That's coaching staff. That's the players that's on your team. That's everything. And again, I can say that, like, I was not in the place at that time to be able to, regardless of my, you know, surroundings, be able to keep myself at a high level. And keep myself up to par and keep myself up to standard. And do what I was supposed to do. So I let myself fall off. We were not good as a team. And I was not good. So I went from, I'm this amazing player and I'm going to do all of these amazing things, to I didn't even get drafted coming out of Michigan State. And I was like, holy crap. How could I have fallen off so bad?
Right.
How could I have literally let myself get to this point? So yeah, I mean, I was definitely in panic mode. I was lucky enough. I did get signed to the Sparks for training camp. After college, was undrafted, was kind of like, well, what am I going to do? Like, I hope that I get picked up for training camp. Got picked up for training camp. I went. It was a great experience. I mean, at that time, Candace Parker was there. I mean, they had all of these amazing players, and I was like, gosh, what if I could make it? Like, could I just make the roster? And, you know, now I'm very aware, and I learned very quickly, sometimes they just sign you just to be a practice player and just to wait until
your body.
Know. Exactly. So that became reality really quickly. Like, was not even given a glimpse of an opportunity to do anything there. And was cut super quickly. And I was like, well, that sucked. That was horrible. So again, even after that, still like, okay, I need to, how can I get back to this? How can I get back to where I'm supposed to be? How can I get back to, you know, and that's even more pressure of just feeling like, why did I put myself in this position? Now, how can I fix this? But yeah, I went and played in Italy my first season overseas. My team wasn't great. I played pretty well. I had a decent first season. It's a great league. I mean, I think it was a good stepping stone, but still didn't make enough of an impact to really shift things for myself. And again, was still probably pretty out of shape. And we started working together. You know, just trying to get back to, I had some Achilles issues, had some knee issues, just struggled to like really get in the shape that I wanted to be able to play the way that I knew that I could. So I think that year that summer with the training camp and then going to Italy, I was like, okay, so now I need to like really grow up,
Right.
be an actual professional.
Sure.
And like, let's start working on real stuff.
Yes.
To try to get to where you're trying to go.
Right.
Because I guess I just was hoping that, me having the name that I had would get me back to where.
Right.
And it was like that stigma that I had was too deep.
Right.
Too
Yeah.
serious, too real to easily. And I mean, honestly, and we have conversations. I feel like I'm still 6-7 years later, still trying to get over all of that.
I know.
So, yeah.
So I would love to hear about that. So we've talked about this, like the first summer we worked together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I say raging knee and Achilles pain,
So
bad.
bad.
To the point where you said on your worst days in college, your Achilles were like an 8 or 9 out of 10 pain.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
mind-blowing to think about.
Yes.
That you could get on a basketball court and get up and down and play it and cut and do all the things that you need to do.
Yeah.
So a little perspective. It took us an entire summer of working together just to get everything calmed down. I was like, hey, now you can actually go play. But now I need you next summer to actually start rebuilding all this.
Yes.
And you have been amazing to work with, just so you know.
You.
Talk to me about that process. You kind of already talked about, hey, like mentally there's like a switch that has to flip. Talk to me about that, like, because I can't do that for you, right? There's certain things, hey, I can give you a program. I can take you through workouts. But even if I see you 5 hours a week, there's 163 hours out of the week where you have to fuel your body. You have to sleep. You have to do all the things. And you made amazing changes. So could you talk to me a little bit about that process?
Yeah, for sure. And I think even that was a struggle because like you said, I mean, I can come into the gym and we can do great work, but if I go home and I eat a donut right after or I'm, you know what I'm saying, not doing what I'm supposed to do, then it kind of just cancels it all out. So I just really had to figure out my body, like what works for me. And everybody's different.
Sure.
I think I've also always had friends, that can eat whatever they want. And
absolutely. We hate those people.
Yeah,
for the record.
we do hate those people.
We have them in
I
our
know
gym.
too many of those
They
people.
come in and, washboard abs. And we don't,
Exactly.
Not all of us can enjoy that physique.
Yeah, yes, which sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was just really like, okay, so what works for my body? What foods work for my body? What what other ways can I fuel my body? What other exercises? I mean, I've really gotten into Pilates and I feel like that has helped me to really lean myself out.
Yes.
Sleeping. There's just so many things that go into it and that build up this whole thing and then, your routine and you can start to go from there. And it was really hard for me to just put that all together, I think.
Yes.
And I think it's hard for a lot of people. It can be. I mean, if you're, again, not somebody that's naturally super skinny or super,
sure.
Whatever. It can take some time. But I think, again, that was all just part of me really realizing what I wanted and what my goals were.
Yes.
And again, like that was some internal reflection because as much as I always had worked hard, there were also things that came really easily to me.
Yeah.
So I think then being in this position where like it felt like all of the work that I had done my entire life was like completely erased.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to get the benefit of anybody's doubt
Exactly.
anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's almost the complete opposite.
Yes.
Like I'm kind of on the crap list right now.
Yeah.
So I have to work 3 times harder to get to this point for anybody to even look at me and give me a chance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's again, still something that has been some days easier than others.
Sure.
But I think just like really committing to the fact that this is what I've always wanted to do. I was derailed, but I'm trying to get back on that path.
Yes.
And, once you get to a point where you really just figure out what it is that you're working towards. Like when you have that goal and you're super committed to that, then it's just the sacrifices that you make.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Well, I think most people assume that everything is a straight line.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm here. Here's my goal. I'm going to do this. Versus, you know, there's good days. There's bad days. If we're using a GPS route, you know, hey, this might be the path, but, oh, well, there's a detour here. So I have to go around. Like, it's just not linear. And one other thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, injuries.
Yes.
So, like, if you play sports long enough, you're going to deal with something, right? Especially basketball, an ankle, a knee, a hip, a back, something. Talk to me a little bit about just your mindset and how that has to shift. I mean, you dealt with it at Notre Dame.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's one thing most people don't understand as an athlete, especially if you're in a team environment and you're removed from your team, you feel very isolated.
Yes.
It's not a good feeling. But then now you're a pro, so maybe you're not with a team and you still got to get up and you got to do the rehab and you have to do all the things. So talk to me about just the process of rehabbing, maybe what you've done mentally to help get yourself right and make sure that you're willing to put in the work every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, I think when I was at Notre Dame, that was my mental capacity to handle that was like not where
this wasn't where it needed to
be.
be. Sure.
And like you said, it's in the college environment, it's so team based. Everything like you're with each other 24/7.
Yeah.
I mean, we're always traveling, we're always practicing. I mean, we were in the gym, like film, lift, practice, recovery. I mean, we're in the gym 6 hours. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just doing stuff. And then, we all go to study table and we all so we're together all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that was super isolating just to feel like I'm not with you. And then, you know, even at that point for me, it was like, okay, I'm this captain and I'm like trying to tell you what to do, but I'm not doing it myself.
Right.
So it was just like a reverse effect. Like, you know,
you're not really leading by example.
Yeah, exactly. And that was really hard for me. And and I don't know if anybody really looked at me like that, but internally I felt like they're looking at me like, girl, shut up.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So that was really hard. But I would say now as a professional, like you said, and that was also an adjustment, was going into just being a professional because you're by yourself and you play on these teams, and obviously it's a team sport and you're always going to have this team aspect, which is why I've always loved basketball. But just the nature of it is you play on a different team every year.
Yes.
And at the professional level, you can't guarantee that everybody, like, I can be willing to go and buy in and I want to hang out with you guys all the time and I love it, but that doesn't mean that everybody else feels the same way.
Yes.
They just want to clock in and clock out.
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
And so it's different, and at the end of the day, like, it's you. You have to get better, you have to work on your body, you have to do everything. Nobody's going to do it for you. So at the professional level, being injured, and I think when I had my major injury, I had finally felt like I was like really getting to like, you know, physically getting to a good spot.
Yeah, I know.
I think my injuries in college were, again, kind of like almost out of shape injuries.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah.
Like I was having these pains in my knees and all my joints because I was just like carrying too much weight.
Yeah, sure.
And then like finally getting to that point where I'm like, okay, I feel good physically. I feel good about my game.
Right.
And then getting hurt.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the worst thing ever.
I know.
And at the time that I had this injury, my knee injury, like I was having a great season, was about to sign a training camp contract. Like, you know, I was like, this is the worst timing.
Yeah.
This is awful. But again, I think, like you said, just committing to the fact that this is part of it. Everybody has these things. In the grand scheme of things, my injury was not super major.
Right.
Was not, knock on wood, was not an ACL, was not, you know, any tear.
Yeah.
So I was just super knowing all these things that I was like so close to doing.
Right.
Was like, okay, like, let's go. Like, let's get get to the rehab process. Let's
Right.
do what we have to do. Because
Yes.
now at this point, you know, this is how I'm making my money.
Right.
So not only is it's not just like, this is fun. Like, no,
This is my job.
this is my job. This is how I make my money. This is how I support myself. And then we're really close to getting to where we want to be.
No, I
we're
know.
really close.
Yeah.
So just, again, it's just a commitment. I mean, everything is a commitment.
Yes.
Everything is you choose to do it or you don't.
Yes.
And you reap what you sow.
Yes.
And that's been like the biggest lesson for me throughout my entire career.
Yep.
Is the times when I committed and I did what I was supposed to do, it always showed. And
Yes.
the times I thought that I could get away with something and like
Right.
not do it and everything would be okay, well, it wasn't.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So I think for me, just really committing to the things that I had to do for my injury. And again, that was eating really well. Part of me being able to maintain my knee feeling good is, okay, I can't afford to put any extra weight on.
Yes.
I have to eat really well.
Yep.
I also have to find, I mean, you know, we got to find exercises in the gym that don't irritate my knee,
Right.
but I still have to build my strength.
Yes.
Still have to stay in shape.
Yes.
So what does that look like?
Yes.
How can I do cardio without running and
Yes.
irritating my knee?
Yes.
How can what kind of squat variations do we have to do?
Absolutely,
What
yeah.
kind of, so that's me, but that's me having people like you that are willing to help me and
Sure.
are knowledgeable with all of these things and able to put me in the best position without, you know, just go do it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Just
You'll be all right.
run and
Yeah.
and then it's, I mean, you know, then you
Then
end
it's
up
worse.
back at square one. So
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it, but
Yes.
it's just a mental piece more than anything.
Yes.
Mental
Yeah.
piece.
I just think of it's an investment, right?
Yes.
Like at every level. And I see this even with my own daughter, right?
Yeah.
In 8th grade, she loves soccer. You got to invest two things. You got to invest money and you got to invest time. And, you know, like, you
Yep.
don't have to like it, but
Yeah.
that's how it is. Whether it's rehab, whether it's training, if you want to get the most out of your body, your game, you got to invest in yourself. That's
Yes.
really what it comes down to. It's
Yes.
investing in yourself.
Yeah.
And you see it, you know, sometimes people just want to throw money at stuff. That's not necessarily going to do it. Like you have to
Exactly.
invest the time. And like you said,
Exactly.
you've learned. If you don't invest the
Yeah.
time, you
Yep.
don't get the result. Okay.
Yep.
So last but not least, I'm not even going to act like I'm not going to read these because there's no way. We've got a lightning round.
Okay.
Okay. So these can be as long or short as you like. The questions are pretty short, though.
Okay.
Okay. Best high school game ever.
Okay, so like just actually high school or just like while I was in high school?
In high school.
Like
Or whatever you want. It's your question.
like
so,
AAU well,
do you have a game where you're just cooking? One that like really stands out? Or maybe just all of them. I don't know. I wasn't at that level.
you know what's really crazy? There were games like when I was in high school where my coach would take me out at a certain point if I was
Just killing.
yeah.
Oh,
So there,
sad.
I feel like, especially like for my actual high school team, there were not a lot of games where I just like scored crazy. 'Cause
Yeah.
he would just take me out,
Oh, sad.
which sucked.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know, and I feel like now I've just played so long and like, but I had some. I would say AAU. Like I
Yeah.
had some crazy AAU.
Okay.
Games.
Do you remember like what
crazy.
was your highest scoring game? Do you remember?
I think like. I think I had like I had one game that was like 35 and 15 maybe.
Oh, that's a big
something
game.
like that. Yeah.
That's a big game.
Yeah. Something
Nice.
like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, you can take this one either locally or AAU.
Okay.
Who was the best player you played against in high school?
Well, high school, I mean, I always played against Stephanie Mavunga.
Yeah.
Like, we would like battle. Like,
Yeah.
she's a great player. And that was, you know, like the game on everybody's
Oh yeah,
calendar,
it's like starred. Yeah.
the huge battle. So definitely her high school, like locally high school. I think I had, I mean, you know, like I would go and play against Brianna Stewart in like USA trials. I'm trying to think who, because I had some AAU games where maybe playing like Jewel Lloyd. I mean, she wasn't like my matchup, but like
Right.
playing against her in AAU.
Yeah.
She was like so crazy,
Yeah.
so talented. I mean, there's just so many people. I mean,
Yeah.
Diamond to Shields.
It's probably every
Kayla
weekend
Davis.
in
Yeah.
AAU. Like it's
Yes.
not like you're going to the local rec center and playing pickup,
No,
right? You're
exactly.
playing against top tier talent every
I mean,
weekend.
yeah.
Yeah.
AAU and like all the like again the USA basketball stuff. Yeah, just crazy and and just all of these camps and playing. I think I just always remember at USA basketball like getting blocked super bad by Diamond to Shields, like a breakaway layup, and she like pinned my. And I was like, she's really good. Like, that was like right. She's like super legit.
Okay, so this is my next question.
Yeah.
Probably more relatable to most of us. Did you ever have just like an awful game in high school? One where you're just like, I just want to forget about this forever.
Yeah, you know what? Because again, like what I said earlier, there were just times where I really struggled mentally. Like I would feel so much pressure, and it was so hard for me to just let that go. And so I definitely, and even still, which luckily I've kind of learned how I can deal with that.
Yeah.
And just give myself like an even playing field.
Yes.
But I definitely in high school like had some games where I dropped the ball and I was like, that was awful.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Just want to go curl up. And that was social media really a thing at that point?
Oh, really?
That's probably a good thing though,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. What advice would you give to middle or high school age kids that just want to get better, right? They want to, they've listened to this and they're like, hey, I want to be more like her, adapt her process. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost for anything, you just have to stay in the gym.
Yeah.
Like that was such a huge thing for me. I was always playing. I was always training. I was always doing AAU. I was always doing travel. I was always working out with boys. I was always getting shots up. I was like every single day I was doing something.
Yeah.
Multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Like you can't be at a high level and not do that. So I would just encourage girls to stay in the gym.
Yes.
Like before anything. And then I think something for me, again, that I wish that I could have learned younger was just to find a way to keep myself centered.
Yeah.
Find a way to keep yourself like mentally focused, and however you can let go of pressure,
Yes.
do that. Like, you know, for me now, I meditate before games.
Yeah,
Now
I
it's
love
like
it.
a way for me to, you know, feel calm and kind of just be like, you know,
Refocused.
whatever.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
And maybe that doesn't work for everybody. And, you know, I know maybe like middle school kids aren't going to do that.
Yeah, sure.
But, you know, maybe that's like you have a playlist that helps you, you know, just finding. I would encourage girls like younger, sooner rather than later, find whatever it is that will always like put you in whatever zone you need to be in.
Yes,
And like
I love
help
that.
you block whatever out.
The noise and the
'Cause
distractions.
I struggled with that. And again, that was part of me just learning the hard way of like, you know, needing something.
Yes.
Just couldn't cope, couldn't deal with it.
Okay. I definitely want to keep that piece somewhere. I'm going to give that to my daughter because I want her to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay. Some random ones. This is going to be hard. What's your favorite Marvel movie of all time?
You know what? I think it has to be Infinity War
Oh, yeah.
and Endgame, because you can't really have
You
one.
can't have one
the
without
other.
the other.
You can't have one without the other. I just love all of the Marvel movies. Well, and even like I love all the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
I love like Captain America, Civil War. Like I like
that was
when
a
it's
great one,
like
yeah.
a bunch of characters together.
Yes.
I always think
Yes.
that's cool. Those are the ones that I enjoy the most.
They did
when
such
it's-
an amazing job of creating all the characters.
Yes.
And then all these timelines, all these plots all coming
yes.
together. Like the amount of foresight that it took. 'Cause that's like 20-some movies.
Exactly. It's
Right?
crazy.
To bring all that together.
Yeah.
Yes. Amazing.
Yes.
Number 2, another one of our favorite topics, TV shows. What are you watching right now?
Okay, so right now, I just finished The Penguin.
Yes.
And I was telling you about that.
Yes.
What else am I watching? I just finished Penguin. I've been watching this new show called Cross.
Oh, okay.
It's like another adaptation of like Alex Cross, like
Yeah.
all those books, and it's pretty good. And what else? It's so bad. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm always watching shows and I can never think of what I'm watching in the moment. I've been watching this show called Shrinking on Apple
Okay.
TV. It's
Haven't
pretty
heard of
good.
that one.
I just try to find random
Yeah.
stuff to keep my attention.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, last one. Last but not least, what's next for Taya?
Yeah, just continuing to work towards my goals. I'm working through a knee injury right now, and
Yep.
just trying to get healthy, but I feel like I'm still, was on that detour, and I'm like kind of circling back
Yep.
and
Yep.
really close. So I think I finally gotten to a place mentally where I feel good about my game. I feel good about me and
Yes.
know what I have to do.
Yes.
So I think I'm just like super motivated to get healthy and like get back and just
Yeah.
keep playing.
I love it.
So really just trying to be deliberate with rehab right now, but just still playing and still, trying to get back to where I've always wanted to be. Want to
Yes.
make a W roster and
Yeah.
just play as long as I can and have fun with it.
I love it.
So, yeah.
I love it. Okay, last one. Where can people find out more about you, whether it's social or whatever? How
Yeah.
can they connect and follow you?
So my Instagram, I'm really just active on Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't really use anything else. Well, I do have TikTok, but my TikTok is
Kind
a
of
little
lame.
lackluster. But on Instagram, my @ is it's Busta BUSTA _rhymes REIMES.
I love it. I love it.
I know,
As a
I've had
90s, like early 2000s hip hop fan, I love it.
You know
I
what?
love
I
the
had
play
a
on
friend. I've had that since. Gosh, it was like my freshman or sophomore year of high school.
Oh,
One of
my.
my AAU teammates, like she would come
Okay.
up with little things for
Yeah.
all of us.
That's so
And
funny.
yeah, she was like Busta Rhymes. So
Oh, I love it.
I know. I've just always kept it. I thought it was so
Love
clever.
it. That's awesome. Well, Taya,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sitting down. This
Thank
was
you,
awesome,
Mike.
and it was
Yeah.
great to catch up.
Yes, this was great. Thank you.